Hey guys, Anthony the Rag Company, and in today's exciting video, we're going to be showing you how to wash, decon, and ceramic coat your brand new vehicle. Let's do it. Behind me here, we have a brand newish Subaru Crosstrek that is ready to be ceramic coated. Now, why would you want to ceramic coat a brand new vehicle? Well, first and foremost, it's going to make that vehicle much easier to clean. For this process, while yes, I could probably do it myself, I brought in some help just to help with the education along with some entertainment along the way. So joining me from Gtechniq, I have Mr. Kris over here, and then joining me from also Gtechniq, Mr. Carson over here. I don't know why there was a pause there, Carson. I'm sorry. Together, we're actually going to be combining all of our forces to make sure that this car gets a full makeover with a proper decon, a proper wash, and of course, a proper application of the ceramic coating. So let's start the wash process. We are set up for the first step, which is going to be wheel cleaning. So this is going to be the first step in the entire process. The reason for doing this is that once we knock out the wheels first, we can actually focus on the paint. And once the paint is done, we can actually jump straight into polishing and all of the rest of the fun stuff. So step one, right? We have a pressure washer in hand. You can also do this with a hose. Joining us for our chemicals, we have W5 and W6. So we're going to be using a citrus all-purpose cleaner. This is going to be really helpful on the tires to remove any type of browning. And then we also have our fallout remover here, which is going to be used as our wheel cleaner. This is going to turn the wheels and all of the different type of iron deposits purple. It's going to make them bleed, and it's going to also be able to be agitated. So we're going to build up a really good lather doing that. In our bucket here, we have a barrel brush, we have a tire scrub brush, we also have a wheel mitt, as well as a little lug nut brush that we can use as well. So this process should go by pretty fast, but you should definitely have clean wheels if you're going to coat your vehicle. It just makes the whole package look nicer. Little iron fallout remover there, right? It's going to start breaking down all of your ferrous metals, right? And it's going to start, we'll call it dissolving, but I like to call it kind of transforming them, right? Yep. Turning them purple, lifting them away from the surface. If you want to as well, you can also start the dwell time on your tires. So you can take a little bit of your citrus all-purpose cleaner, do a couple sprays around here, and then you can agitate it.
You want to try and get as much embedded contamination off the face of the wheel, especially prior to coating, because if you coat, you're going to be coating over that contamination. The coating might kind of last a little bit less. It's going to be less hydrophobic, and it's going to be a little bit rougher to kind of apply and remove. So
we're actually going to be going through and coating the wheels with Gtechniq C5, along with the full other coating application on the rest of the vehicle. One down, 3 more to go. Let's do it.
Both of the products are going to have a little bit of a different mechanism for how they work. So the citrus all-purpose cleaner is going to be an alkaline surfactant that's designed for kind of traffic film, oils, and residues that are common on your wheel wells or your tire face, things kind of like that. Whereas your W6 is going to try and tackle the actual iron and fallout on the brake surfaces themselves.
So the wheel's clean. We're giving Carson a quick break, but we've pulled in Kris to actually go over the wash process and how we're going to go about doing this full decon. So Kris, the floor is yours.
In the Gtechniq line, we have an entire maintenance line to help you prep the vehicle for before the ceramic coating and help maintain after you ceramic coat it. So everything you see here on this cart is going to be everything you need to properly prep a vehicle and maintain it after we coat it. So starting over here, we have our totally pH neutral, highly concentrated G-Wash. So G-Wash is typically the fan favorite. That product has lots of cleaning surfactants in it to give you proper lubrication when making that physical contact wash. Yep. So jumping over from the W1 G-Wash, you have W4 citrus foam. So W4 citrus foam has a little bit more bite to it with that citrus additive in it. So a lot of times this will be a pre-soak type of product to help remove any waxes or sealants, or at least break them down so that once we go to our clay mitt process, it'll be fully removed and prepped, and then panel wipe will get anything left behind. Yep. Once we go through the W4, we would typically jump up to our W5. W5 is our citrus all-purpose cleaner. You can dilute that up to 10-to-1, or you can use it right out of the bottle. It is much more aggressive that way, so make sure you know what you're working on at that point. Typically, I'll dilute it about 1-to-1 most of the time. I don't really need it full strength unless I'm doing something that's super, super soiled. Then we have our W6 iron fallout remover, and that's also safe on all of your paint work as well. So that's gonna do what exactly it did on the wheels. It's gonna dissolve those metal and iron particulates and make it easy for you to remove. The idea behind this process is to remove as much physical contamination as possible before we even touch the car, because then that's just gonna make more work for us when it comes to the paint correction process. So from there, we have our W7. This is a specialty product. This is for glue and tar. So you might not even need this in your process, but we have it just in case. Okay. And then you have your W8, which is our bug remover. Very cost-effective bug remover on the market. It works amazing. You don't have to agitate. You don't have to do nothing. You spray it on, you let it eat, and then you rinse it right off. So we're gonna do that one on the front here because there's lots of bug guts on this thing. Yep. And then we have our water spot remover. Again, another specialty product. We might use it, we might not. Just depends on how bad the car is. It's pretty new, so we probably won't need it. But a water spot remover is meant and designed to remove the mineral content of that water spot. Yep. So what it's gonna do, it's gonna make it less easier for you to see that actual water spot. But again, this is a new car, we probably won't need it.
Basically, we're going to be covering and hitting a lot of this decon from pretty much every possible angle that we can, right? At the end of the day, after all of this is done, that coating is going to adhere so much better to the surface, thus increasing the longevity and increasing the overall effectiveness of the coating. So with that said, we have some washing to do, so let's go ahead and jump into it.
Are you subscribed to the Rag Company YouTube channel? Because if you're not, you should be. 90% of the people who are subscribed to this channel have cleaner cars. You do the math. I didn't.
Bugs have been tackled with the bug remover, and we've also gone through with the citrus wash to remove a majority of the dirt on the vehicle. But now we have to go back through and actually do a contact wash. Now, Chris, you have magic in a bottle there.
I do. We have our W1G wash. So this is going to be your contact wash that we recommend. This is going to have all the proper lubrication needed to safely remove the dirt and debris from the surface with reducing micro marring and scratches and things like that.
All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and lay down some foam with some G-Wash.
So we're gonna go ahead and start with our contact wash. With your contact wash, you always wanna make sure you start from top to bottom. That way it allows all the dirt and debris to start falling, let gravity work to your advantage. So we're gonna go ahead and start on the roof and work our way down.
You can definitely still feel some contamination on the surface, and I think for this step, obviously claying would be our next go-to. It makes most sense to rinse, have some water on the surface, use a little bit of fallout remover as our clay lube, agitate everything, rinse one more time, and we are done.
Yep. Yeah, the W6 iron fallout remover is very viscous, so it's like a gel. So it's a great clay lube with your synthetic clays, but typically you want to stay away from using it with a traditional clay. It will break down that clay over time. Yep. So you typically would only want to use it with the synthetic.
The process for this is pretty simple, right? Taking your Ultra Clay scrubber, I've sprayed a couple sprays here onto the panel. I'll do one spray here onto the clay scrubber itself. From here, I'm going to use the iron remover to glide my clay. It's almost like I'm applying it at the same time I am using it as a lubricant. Yep. So going around here, you can actually give a little bit of some agitation around here. You can actually see exactly where you've gone because you'll see those kind of nice clean lines coming down to the bottom here. Hug this edge. And if you want to, apply your fallout remover to other areas that maybe are kind of more textured, like this plastic right here, I don't necessarily want to clay that. No. I could flip that over and use the bug scrubber portion and actually apply that right over the top of that.
If it does dry,
yes,
it will turn white.
Okay.
And as soon as you hit it with water, it'll reactivate.
And again, a little goes a long way here. So one spray here on the mirror is all I need there. Bam. I've now deconned that and made sure to remove any of the iron fallout, and I'll continue my way around the rest of the vehicle. Now, Chris, is this something we ever want to use on glass as a clay lube?
Yeah, absolutely can.
Totally fine?
Totally fine, absolutely. Yeah, glass is the hardest substrate on the vehicle. Yep. Not gonna hurt anything with the glass, using it on the glass.
Ooh, yeah, that works really well.
Yeah.
Really nice. We're gonna continue on for the rest of the vehicle. We will touch base with you after we've rinsed everything off, and we're going to start drying everything. So see you in a few.
We just finished up doing our physical and our chemical decontamination on the paint. The next step here is going to be to dry off the vehicle. So this is the new M22 from the Rag Company, and it's 2200 GSMs, something like that.
It's nice.
It's very nice.
Time for one of my favorite steps in the detailing process, and that is going to be the polishing step. Now, when it comes to polishing a vehicle before coating, there's going to be different ways to go about doing this. It's all going to depend on the paint and the condition of it. In this case, we can actually just prime the paint, get it ready for the coating, utilizing one product and really one style of pad. So for this, I have the final polish from the last detail. And then over here on our HLR 15 Rupes, we do have a yellow buff and shine pad, which is going to be a very fine cutting pad. So with this combination, we're going to go through and actually polish the entire vehicle. We'll call it a primer polish. So let's have some fun.
We went on ahead and polished the whole vehicle. We wiped off all the polish as much as possible. There's still kind of an invisible film on the entire vehicle after you machine polish the vehicle that might have some oils and residues that, if left behind, could otherwise inhibit the bond of our ceramic coatings that we're going to be using today, the CSL and XO. So prior to using that, using panel wipe is an essential step. As far as the way that we recommend using this, have a two-towel system. The type of towel you use is less important than the quality. So just make sure it's a good quality microfiber. A little goes a long way. This is a strong alcohol spray, so spray it directly into your towel. Then go ahead and wipe the painted panel. It's gonna kind of flash off almost before your eyes, but just in case we have any minor streaking, I'm just gonna come in and kind of back buff with a second dry towel. And this panel is now prepped and ready to go for coating. Go ahead and do that around the entire vehicle. This is safe on plastics, so don't worry too much about that. Go ahead and do that on everything that you've polished, and then we're good to go on ahead and grab our coating of choice today. So to kind of hit on what you're getting out of these coatings, this is a two-part coating system, and it is optional. You can use either coating standalone, but for best performance, we recommend doing one layer of Crystal Serum Light followed by one layer of XO. The CSL is going to be that base layer coating, and so that's going to absorb into your clear coat and give you 5 years of UV and abrasion rejection. As far as wash swirls and things like that, it's not going to be an impenetrable barrier, but it's going to give you a little bit of peace of mind when you go in and do your maintenance washes on the vehicle. It's hydrophobic all on its own, but XO is going to really boost the surface characteristics of the underlying CSL for up to 2 years. This is going to give you more water repellency, or hydrophobics and oleophobics, so kind of oil repellency. It's going to give you more slickness and that kind of self-cleaning effect that we really want out of a ceramic coating. So stay tuned for the application.
So in your box here, go ahead and open it up. You do have some gloves in here. I already have some nice gloves, so I'm going to put those aside. And then you're going to get your pipette dropper, and then you're also going to get your coating, and then you have your applicator. Okay. When you first go to apply Crystal Serum Light, you're going to go ahead and prime your applicator. So the first thing you do is you're going to go ahead and crack that bottle open, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to load up our applicator. So when you first apply, you want to prime your applicator. We recommend about 3 pipettes full across. When you first prime your applicator is when you have the most product on your applicator. So what we teach is what's called the river method. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the hood here. I'm going to do this top quadrant right up top here, and I'm going to divide that quadrant right down the center, and then I'm going to go across that river every time. So I'm crossing over that river each time. That way I know that I'm equally distributing that product to that area. You're not putting down any pressure, you're just very gently gliding with the pressure on your hand. And then I cross hatch pattern, mainly just so that way I don't miss anything. That's the main purpose. And then at the end, I just kind of box it in nice, get it all the way to the edge. And then now I'm gonna go ahead and wait for my flash time. So with the Gtechniq coatings, we have a very friendly flash time, and it's very visual. So what you're gonna see is the texture from the applicator you're using. You'll see the lines on the surface. As it starts to flash, those lines will start to divide and separate, and you'll see little dots appear in between those lines. That's what we call the sweat effect. So depending on your environment and where you are is going to depend on how quick that flash time is. So it's not really a set number with what, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, minute. It's really going to depend on your environment. Today we're inside, we've got AC, and we've got good lighting and everything like that. So right now we've got about a 45-second to a minute window, and then that area is starting to flash. So if you're outside or something like that in the shade, you might have less time to be able to wipe that off. You can combat that by adding more product or working in smaller sections to give you a little bit longer flash time. So once we have a decent sweat across this whole panel area here, we're going to go ahead and take our towel 1 and we're going to go ahead and buff that section off. I've got my nice pearl towel here, so I'm going to go ahead, start on the edge here, all the way around the border, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit that center. Now that first towel, you're going to get most of the product up just from that first towel. Now I'm going to go ahead, jump to towel 2. With towel 2, I'm going to go out a little bit further than where I initially applied to. This is just an insurance policy to make sure you don't leave any high spots. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe out into the fender, wipe out a little bit into the center, and then same thing, work that center bit. And then really, towel 3 is what we call the insurance towel. You can get away with 2 towels, that's totally fine. I always would recommend a 3rd towel. An insurance towel, think of it as a dollar insurance policy, right? So this is going to ensure you never have a high spot on your coatings for your customers or for your personal vehicle. A high spot would be leftover excess product that didn't get equally leveled off. And so you're going to see almost like a smear, like when you're drying a vehicle and you missed a spot, right? And it's going to look like a weird kind of like dry spot. It's a little bit hazy. So what happens there is you might have to polish it. But if you catch it early enough, we can teach you some tips and tricks on how to remove that as well. Towel 3, I'm going way out into the fender. I'm touching way out into the center of the hood. I'm going way down to the bottom. And I can instantly already feel where it's coated and not coated. And that's it. So we're going to go ahead and follow that same procedure across the rest of the vehicle. And then once we're done, we'll get ready to apply the XO on top.
So we just finished up with the CSL application, and this Crosstrek is looking pretty dang good. Now, we're going to take it to the next level with XOV5. So XOV5 is going to be a standalone coating, but also a topper that's dedicated for something like Gtechniq, CSL, or their other coatings. The benefits to XO is that you're going to get an extreme hydrophobic layer, meaning that the water behavior on XOV5 is going to be taking like CSL and putting it on steroids. It's going to be taking it to that next level to where water is going to be basically floating. It is such a cool effect. So XOV5 is going to be going over the top of this. The application is really simple. We don't need to prep anything, but you do want to try to apply XOV5 in a nice window after applying CSL. So typically within an hour, you want to apply your XOV5 to all of your surfaces and recoat the entire vehicle. But a quick note, again, if you want to just apply XOV5 to your vehicle's surface, you can also do that as well. Now, on top of that, the durability of XOV5 is roughly 18 months to 2 years, maybe even longer depending on your maintenance and your conditions. But what we're finding is that the combination of CSL and XOV5 can last upwards of like 5 years, which is really, really cool. So with that said, I'm really excited. We're going to crack open this box and begin the coating.
The biggest difference with the XOV5 and the Crystal Serum Light is going to be that this comes with a little stem dropper on the inside of the bottle, so you won't need to have the pipette to help measure out the product as you go along. So when you first go to prime your applicator, typically I count to 3. 1, 2, 3. I got a nice load of product on here. And with XO, it's much friendlier to apply, so I'm actually going to apply it in a little bit bigger of a section this time. So I'm going to try and do about half the hood. So I'm going to go ahead and lay my river. And the surface right now is just insanely slick with that CSL already on there as the base coat. XO, typically it's a little bit friendlier, so you will have a little bit longer flash time, and you will be able to buff it off even if you miss something up to probably, a few hours later, just from personal experience. Ideally, 3 towel method, you won't have that issue. So I got a nice equal sweat kind of going over this area, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with my towel 1. Again, just to show you guys that towel 1 is gonna get most of that product up. Towel 2, pretty much going to get the excess, anything left behind. So now we're just going to go ahead and use that XO on the rest of the car. Once you get that applicator primed, you're just going to go ahead typically one second per panel. After that, keep it loaded up with product and go ahead and knock out the rest of the car.
While that's curing, we're gonna go on ahead and address the glass. The glass on this vehicle is in great shape. We don't have a whole lot of water spots, so all we did to do was play it. Really, that's all we needed to do. Now, if you do have some oxidation or some water spots in the corners of your glass or etching, do go on ahead and polish it, then clean your glass afterwards with glass cleaner or panel wipe, and now you're ready to install the coating on that clean surface. The coating of choice for this vehicle today is going to be our G1 Clear Vision Smart Glass. We're going with the larger 100 milliliter kit, which can do up to 5 to 7 full vehicles. We also sell it in a smaller 15 milliliter box. That's really only going to do one windshield, maybe 2 side mirrors or so. So as far as what G1 is going to be, it's a quartz-based chemically bonding glass coating. So it's going to give you about 20,000 miles of protection. And the protection that you're going to get is extreme hydrophobics at around 40 miles an hour and above. What's included with this kit is going to be the G1, which that's going to be your actual protectant. G2 is the residue remover. You don't need to order them separately. When you get the G1, G2 comes included. Also, because it's a little bit more of an involved application, especially 3 coats on the windshield, 1 coat on side glass, follow the master instruction sheet that's going to have everything that you need as far as timing and application. We include the applicators with the bottle, so no need to purchase anything separately. Go ahead, remove the cap of the G1. For this piece of side glass here, I'm just going to go on ahead and do maybe 2 applications of product, just turning that dropper over. Frame this glass out, and then we're going to fill in the inside, kind of like painting this picture. If I can see that it's kind of still kind of doing that ghosting effect when I'm wiping, that's how I know I still have enough to go ahead and protect a few more pieces of glass. That's really all there is to it. We're gonna wait 15 minutes after this single coat on the side glass. Then we're gonna follow up with the residue remover and knock the excess product off. If it were the windshield, we're gonna do 3 coats of the G1 as I just did, 5 minutes apart. On that 3rd coat, wait 15 minutes, then come back with the G2. So we've went on ahead and let this glass, the G1's all set up. We waited about 15 minutes. It's all cured, but you notice we have a bunch of high spots of product. So now what we're gonna do is use the included bottle of G2 residue remover. 2 drops is really all we need. We get a lot of people that call and say, hey man, you didn't ship us enough G2. I promise we did. Grab a nice glass towel. The FTW is awesome. All we're gonna do is kind of use this solvent here, and then we're gonna use the towel quickly and kind of spread it like a squeegee to get all that excess off. Now, if you go really slow with this, you're gonna have a bad time because that solvent in the G2 is gonna evaporate before you can be effective with this microfiber. So time is efficiency here. Once this is good, let this set indoors for 12 hours before water exposure, and you're all good to go. Paint is dialed in, glass is protected for up to 20,000 miles. Last surface that we're gonna go on ahead and treat on this vehicle is gonna be the wheels. The coating of choice for that is gonna be our C5 wheel armor. C5 is resistant up to about 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is the 15 milliliter size. We sell it in 2 sizes. If you're just coating your wheel faces and they're around probably all the way up to around 18, 19-inch wheels, you're good to go with that smaller 15 mil. But if you're doing barrels on any size of wheels, or if you have larger wheels like 20s, 22s, 24s, go with that 30 mil size. Go ahead and throw some product right onto that. Then we're gonna go on ahead, wipe it onto the wheel face. And so if it's your first time, go ahead and break that wheel down into half. That's all there is to the application. Go ahead, close that lid of the bottle to make sure you don't have too much solvent evaporating in between your applications, and then grab a microfiber of your choice. Generally, I try to go with a little bit of a thinner nap on this, and I'm gonna go ahead and buff that wheel clean. And so C5 is resistant, again, up to that 1200 Fahrenheit, so you're all good to go. Even on a track car, this is gonna work wonders for keeping that brake dust at bay, and it's gonna be about 2 years of durability on any wheel surface, whether it's clear coated, powder coated, matte satin, or gloss. You're all good to go with C5 wheel armor to protect your wheel finish.
That is going to be a wrap for the full coating of this Subaru Crosstrek here. So a huge shout out to Kris and Carson for joining in on all of the fun. The entire vehicle, as the exterior is coated, it is good to go. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Because this next part of the video, it's just gonna be me. But you guys will get to see me in the future washing this thing, showing you guys the water behavior and kind of what to expect with a ceramic coated car. So see you in the future. So it has been a month since we last left off here in this video with coating this Subaru Crosstrek. In that month, this thing has collected a decent amount of dirt, but it has not been washed, meaning it is ready for its first wash by yours truly, where we're gonna check out the water behavior and see how the coating is holding up. The trim was actually coated with EXO as well. It was not coated with C4, and I remember back during the install, we had kind of wished we had installed C4 over EXO on the trim, so just something to keep in mind. I'm hoping the water behavior is still there, but we're just gonna have to find out. So I went ahead and grabbed my products here. I have Gtechniq's C2V4, that's gonna be our ceramic sealant, and that's gonna be kind of our drying aid, kind of final topper for the coating. For just the basic wash itself, we have G-Wash, that's gonna go in the foam cannon and the bucket. And then I grabbed myself some iron and fallout remover, which I already pre-treated the wheels with. Since these are coated with Gtechniq C5, they should clean up really, really well. I mean, technically, all I have to probably do is spray this on dry and rinse it off, and they should be 95% clean. And then I have some all-purpose cleaner here just to address any of the browning on the tires and possibly even the fender wells. But for the most part, the first maintenance wash is one of the easiest, and that's when you're gonna see all that amazing water behavior. So we're gonna quickly clean the wheels and then focus on the paint, and I think we're gonna be pretty impressed. So the wheels cleaned up beautifully, exactly how I expected. They're roughly 95% clean. They had great water behavior. Now, the paint, right? That's the big thing in question, right? How does the CSL EXO water behavior look, and how easy is this going to clean up? As expected, pretty insane, pretty amazing. So once we kind of broke through that first little layer of dust, water behavior instantly started revealing itself and looks just incredible. That's the whole point of a maintenance wash, is to check on the coating, make sure it's doing what it needs to do. If there's any spots you missed, then we retouch them up. But if everything continues to look good, spray a little bit of a topper on there like C2V4 and keep sending it, and hopefully it lasts at least 5 more years. That's what we're looking for. G-Wash here in the foam cannon. Got a couple TRC glugs in there. I didn't really completely measure it out. And I also have a little bit of G-Wash here in my bucket, along with a Cyclone wash pad. And so we're just laying on some foam and do a normal wash. But I'm just hoping that this G-Wash actually sticks to the coating. Foam is sticking to the surface, so that's good. So G-Wash tends to work really well with coatings, right? So taking this, there's nothing like that first coating maintenance wash. Wow, that feels awesome. It feels like what I'm doing, it feels like I'm just pushing around basically some foam, and it's just doing the work for me. But this feels really, really good. What that tells me is that really this is gonna rinse off super easy, right? So I'm gonna grab the pressure washer here after I'm done, can start rinsing it, and it's gonna be basically a clean vehicle. Now you can see that a lot of the soap has already pretty much run off the vehicle. Like I said, like these panels are clean now. All I have to do is just add a little water, rinse everything off. You can do this with a hose, pressure washer, whatever. And this should be pretty spotless by the time we're done. And then at that point, it's just whether or not we want to blow dry, or if we want to towel dry, or if we want to use some type of drying aid as we're towel drying. Choice is ours. So just finished up with a blow dryer, and I am blown away with the results. C2V4 in hand, got a Spectrum 420 in hand. This doesn't need much, right? The water behavior is great. If I'm looking for that touch of more gloss, right? If I'm looking for a little bit more slickness, then this makes sense, right? C2V4 is designed to be able to pair with CSL and EXO, meaning it will stick to those substrates. Now, some people may want to use C2V4 with a drying towel. You totally can. It's an SiO2 sealant, meaning that it's going to clog your drying towel, so you'd have to wash it immediately afterwards with rags to riches to prevent it from becoming hydrophobic. But this glass right here, right? I'm drying, it feels pretty good. Little spritz here, C2V4, take that. That feels much, much better. Towel flip, buff that off. That is super, super slick. I'm gonna go ahead, dry the rest of this off, and we will recap here at the end with a clean vehicle and give you my final thoughts. So that is going to be a wrap for this Gtechniq coding video. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to both Kris and Carson for flying out all the way to Boise to help us with this project and to join us for the Gtechniq festivities. And this is something that all of you can apply for yourselves at home, just following the same steps in this video. So as always, if you guys enjoy the detailing content and you want to see more, please make sure you give us a big thumbs up, subscribe down below for more, and stay tuned for more videos right here at The Rag Company.